for anyone that's interested, those film quotes you just heard were from an old western starring Billy the Kid, or at least the character of Billy the Kid. Just for any film buffs out there that might be watching this programme, there you are. Just crossing the M56 motorway at the moment, on our way for today's journey, today's day out, which I'll discuss in more detail a bit later on. Just crossing the Runcorn Bridge, of course, and there it is in all its glory. And the Liverpool branch of the West Coast Main Line that has been featured during this season on my videos goes across the bridge to the left. But we're driving over the Runcorn Bridge on the roads today. Yeah, I still haven't explained what we're doing today. I'm going to hold off because it's a special weekend in the football calendar. And I've got a special trip planned, which I'm sure will impress. Anyways, let's go. Let's keep going.
In their semi before the Japanese was forced to stop after hurting his knee. Murray will meet the Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov in the showpiece. There are two Aviva Premiership rugby matches later. Exeter v Northampton and Gloucester v London Irish. And two Pro 12 matches.
Well, this is Widnes Station in Cheshire. That's where he parked. That's where we was driving to. And this is the train. We're getting on it now. Well, it's a flipping relief. I've only just made it by 30 seconds. I always planned to get this train from this station, Widnes. But it was a close run thing. And I've got the train and caught it just in the nick of time. So, after all that, we can now sit back and relax for the journey. By the way, we will be getting off at Piccadilly Station in about 20 minutes' time. Manchester's our destination today, and I'll explain more when we get there. The M6 motorway in the distance there. We're just about to rush through Birchwood Station. And there it is. Well, here we are at Manchester Piccadilly Station, one of the busiest railway termini in the country, certainly outside of London. And it's a train that I got off just departs behind me. We've got a good football day today. And it's going to be a good one too, I can sense it. So as I wait for the train to pass, so I can hear myself speak. Had to be a full car train today, didn't it? Okay, good. Yeah. And today is a special day in the football calendar because it's the first week of January, and the first weekend in January means FA Cup weekend. It's the third round of the oldest football competition in the world as the Championship and the Premier League teams enter it. The lunchtime kick-off, the first of a series of televised games, is Brighton versus Newcastle, which is interesting. Already 15 minutes in, that was a 12:30 kick-off. I've listened to the first 15 on the train. It's still 0-0. That's what I'm listening to until the end of that, about 2:15. So it really is a great weekend. There's a whole set of games at 3 o'clock. And another one this evening. More games tomorrow, more Monday. The football just does not stop on FA Cup weekend. And that's why we love it so much. It's a beautiful day as well. It's so mild for January. It's incredible. It's bizarrely warm. It's like an October day. So what more could you want? Another Virgin Pendolino leaves Piccadilly, bound for London Euston. They'll be in central London in just 2 hours' time. Hence is the nature of high-speed rail in the modern age. And there it goes. Half an hour gone now at the Amex Stadium. Brighton are playing well, probably the better team in fact, but it's still goalless. As cross-country Voyager enters Piccadilly from behind me. The trains just keep going in and out all day long. Just like the London Termini, although slightly less busy. In fact, on the platform that I'm stood on, there's another train about to leave. It'll be about the 4th train to leave this platform since I got here only 15 minutes ago. So there you go. 35 minutes gone. The deadlock's been broken between Brighton and Newcastle, and it's the lower league team Brighton that are ahead. A wonderful goal as well, apparently. Brighton to the bottom left-hand corner. Newcastle dumped out the League Cup here last season. They're in trouble again. 1-0 Brighton. Game on. So Newcastle in trouble again. They've lost something like 8 of their last 10 Premier League games, and are now losing in the Cup. And Brighton dumped Newcastle out of last season's League Cup, of course, at this ground. So there's work to do, and let's hope for the sake of the fans and everyone else associated with Newcastle that they can turn it around. So there's 10 minutes till half time after that goal for Brighton, and I'm just going to stay here on the Piccadilly platforms until half time. Okay? And then we'll head into the streets of the city during the second half. Half time at the Amex Stadium. As I shout over the sound of the trains, and it's Brighton 1, Newcastle 0. So the Championship team take a 1-0 lead over out of sorts Premier League Newcastle United. What will the second half bring? You'll find out as trains from Northern and Virgin depart behind me.
Yeah, if you go this behind me.
Well, the second half is underway as we hit the streets, and I'll talk in a few minutes. It's still 1-0 Brighton, they've just kicked off. Well, we're 10 minutes into the second half, and Newcastle, the 6 times FA Cup winners, although they were all over 50 years ago, deep in the past, are still trailing. The Magpies also got to a couple of cup finals in the late 90s, but lost them both apparently. Arsenal in 1998 and Man United in 99. Well, Newcastle's away form is nothing short of shocking. That's been the main downfall for them this season. They haven't won all year away from home. No away wins in the Premier League, and they've lost more than half of them. Yeah, that's why they're only 2 points above the drop zone and losing today. But they've still got half an hour to turn this one around yet. Well, I'm hoping to pull over and speak to the camera personally in a minute, because there's a lot to tell you as a police car or ambulance or something goes past, and in the distance you can see a tram rising from one of the tunnels under the city centre. So this is the Ashton Canal that we're walking along just for a short while. Well, Manchester is a city where the old industrial past meets the bizarre and new. at least architecturally. A fine afternoon, it really is. And what's great is, like with the last few weeks, I can go out, enjoy the football on a Saturday without worrying about being wet or cold. Now, just over an hour gone at the Etihad. Let's try again. Just over an hour gone at the Amex Stadium, and there's a big development. We'll put it this way, Newcastle's day has just gone from bad to worse. Shaul Amiobi, a second yellow card, he's off, a red card for the away team. And Brighton have to believe now they've got the confidence with that one-man advantage to close out another scalp. By the way, it was the FA Cup last year that Brighton dumped Newcastle out of, not the League Cup. So they're about to beat the same Premier League team for a second year in a row. But there's still a quarter of the match left. Well, thus far, I haven't actually explained what I'm doing here in Manchester. I'm not just walking around listening to FA Cup commentary. I'm off to a game. You may have noticed, at least the more observant ones amongst you, may have noticed a lot of Man City shirts around, and also a lot of Watford FC tops too. Well, that's because the two of them meet in one of a host of 3 o'clock kickoffs in the FA Cup. And I grabbed the ticket to sit with the home fans a few days ago. Only 15 quid, less than half as much as most Premier League games. And I'm off there now. All these industrial towns and cities of the north will definitely bring many sites like that. Because all those industries that boomed 200 years ago eventually declined, and the buildings became derelict brownfield sites, boarded up, smashed windows, them sorts of things. The clock continues to tick down, and there's less than 20 minutes now for Newcastle to save the day. And to be fair, to be honest, they don't look seriously close to equalising either. As we go under a bridge. In fact, maybe I spoke too soon. Newcastle just came close then. But it is 1-0 to the home side. And as it stands, the first FA Cup game of 2013 is going to be a Premier League scalp. Well, I'm not only a West Ham fan, but I'm also a football fan. And as such, I like going to any game, especially Premier League games though. So you'll find that I've been to a few West Ham League games this season, and most games I go to are involving the Hammers, home or away. But today, I've chosen to do a neutral, which I usually do once a season on average at various places. It is Man City Watford in the FA Cup. So 15 minutes to go in the game I'm listening to at the Amex, where Brighton still lead 1-0. And we're going to pick up our ticket when we get there, and then hopefully get in the ground just in time. But it's it's just gone 2 o'clock. We're only about 20 minutes from the Etihad now. But 15 minutes left for Newcastle now, and things still aren't going their way as they continue to struggle in what's been a difficult season, in stark contrast to last year, which was wonderful for them. A campaign where they nearly got Champions League football. Now they're only 2 points above the drop zone. But they've got a good squad, and they will pull out of relegation problems, I'm certain of that. So indeed, I am off to Man City versus Watford in the FA Cup third round today as a neutral. Let me just go over the reasons again why it's viable. Fairly cheap, just 15 quid compared to 40 odd for Premier League matches. Availability was more possible for me. I only booked 3 days ago and there were still quite a few seats left. It's the Champions, so great appeal. And if I wasn't going, what would I be doing? I'd be just at home watching it on TV, or walking with the radio through some random residential street or forest. as I duck my head under that low clearance bridge. So why not go, you know? As I said, I don't just support my own team, I'm a football fan as a whole, and I always go to the odd game as a neutral each season. And as I'm doing this video series, all the more reason to feature as many grounds as possible. I've already featured Upton Park in London, the Hawthorns in Birmingham, and now the Etihad in Manchester, and hopefully Liverpool or Everton as well later on in the season. I'm still working on that. Anyways, well, we're still walking along the canal, but just look at that to the right. The Etihad Stadium, the home of the current Premier League champions. We've nearly made it. Another goal with just a few minutes of normal time left. And the magic of the FA Cup is alive. And Newcastle, they're totally in tatters. And Alan Pardew must be worried. It's 2-0 Brighton. They are going to knock Newcastle out of the FA Cup again. I missed the scorer, but it's as good as over with just a few minutes left. Wow. So, there it is again. We're getting closer to the grand 48,000 capacity Etihad. Well, we showed you Old Trafford earlier this season. It was inevitable that we was going to show this ground too, especially as the champions of this country play there. There are a number of other televised games this weekend, as I might have said earlier, back at Piccadilly. The evening game, many will say the tie of the round, West Ham versus Man United. I won't be watching it because I'll be on the train home. But that's just the way the fixtures went out, didn't it? Well, an even better view now of the ground, which we're just a few hundred metres away from. And we're also coming to the end of the canal. I didn't even know about this route, I've just literally followed the fans and improvised. And I'm glad, because it's not only more direct, but it's a more scenic route, as another tram passes there. And there you are. Brighton are just a couple of minutes away now from knocking Newcastle out of the FA Cup. And who would have thought it? Who would have thought it? Well, Brighton's televised game with Newcastle, that is just coming to its conclusion, is only one of a host of televised games, as I might have mentioned earlier, back at Piccadilly. This evening, it's West Ham versus Man United in arguably the tie of the round. I won't be watching it because I'll be getting the train back, but never mind. I had to choose that or go into this game, and I thought, let's go to this game. You know, you can't go to every game. Well, that guy's excited. The game hasn't even started yet. Wow. So modern. So 21st century. The Arab owners certainly have transformed this into a super European club. And it's great to see. A bit of Gangnam Style there, or Balotelli style. Yeah, I had to put a few seconds of that onto the video because probably my favourite song of 2012, and that was a good version. Anyways, I've got my match ticket now, so we're just heading to the East Stand, walking around the northeast corner from the North Stand, and let's go. So this is Manchester City's Etihad Stadium, the East Stand, which is where I will be watching the game from. And just to prove it, there's our match ticket. So let's get going, we've got 15 minutes till kick-off. By the way, a great day for Brighton. They won Newcastle, they beat them 2-0, well, they're through, the Magpies are out. But there's 30 or 3 o'clock kick-offs in the FA Cup, including this one. So I'm just going to join the queue, and I'll see you on the other side of the turnstiles. So we're now walking up the long circular walkway, which is interesting, a bit like at the San Siro in Milan in Italy. Yeah. It's the second time I've ever been to this ground. The first time was to see Oasis in the summer of 2005 when they were still together. Lots happened since then. Indeed it has. Yeah, that occasion I was in the upper stand, and this time is no exception. Yeah, great views of the city over there. Yeah, looking forward to this. And surely the Premier League champions can score a few goals and get a comfortable win against Championship Watford, but the FA Cup is full of surprises. Now, we're on the we're right at the top, so I think we've got to keep walking at this point. It's becoming a bit monotonous filming this now, so let's just find a seat. I told you the FA Cup third round weekend was a special one, and I had to do something equally special for it. But this proved to be the perfect opportunity, so why not?
So the magic of the course starts again today. Come on, the Bulls!
Bloody gone disallowed it. That was go. That's good. Go on.
Second goal for City to the guy number 18, Gareth Barry.
Wonderful views. Very, very top. One of the highest stands here at the Etihad.
I think is a Metro Link. Thinking like that, you won't go far wrong. Metrolink will be running full services from February onwards. Thank you.
It's a mascot competition. Time entertainment. Basically a mini football match. You can see yellow markers on the pitch. I think we'll just film until someone scores. Oh, we go. Oh, good save. City versus Watford. Chance. Oh, it's in the goal. It's gone in off the post. What a goal that was. Brilliant. Entertainment never stops here at the Etihad.
For you now, we're going to let you enjoy some of this game between the two 11 mascots from both City and Watford today in this FA Cup game. They are playing each other in a game which I can only describe as tactically diverse, if you like. I think it's 1-0 to City, although I'll be honest with you, the goal at the Watford end is a little bit smaller than the goal at the City end, but home advantage counts, right? It actually struck the cone, but hey, they all celebrate. It was scored by one of the goalkeepers that's currently playing. I'm going to step out of the way and let you enjoy some of this. 1-0 to City, mascots against mascots. I think it's just 1-1. It is 1-1, goal flash, cheer your team.
1-1 now.
We'll replay as much as we can up on the big screen.
Sit back and enjoy the rest of this mini match. Well, you probably can't see it very well through these lenses, but there are some wonderful views of the city against the setting sky that you can see from beyond the top of the stands. All part of the enjoyment. And here's the view from behind. So we're right at the top. One of the highest stands in the ground. So great views of Manchester from up here. So we're enjoying the half-time entertainment. Anyways, it's the camp away now. And just enjoy the second half without the phone. Showing both goals over the chance in the first half. City are 2-0 up in cruising. Tottenham and Chelsea both winning as well in their games. And Wigan and Aston Villa both losing at home. Sunday they're losing. Some teams comfortable, some teams losing in terms of Premier League sides. Let's get it on. The second half coming up. So what a fine afternoon with great weather too. It finished Man City 3, Watford 0, I think. Although I left with a few minutes of normal time to go and heard the third goal and celebrations from outside. But it sounded like it was 3-0 with one of Man City's youth players getting the third goal. Yeah, good day all round. And at the end of this video we'll just show you all those scores from the FA Cup third round, especially the ones with the involving the Premier League teams. So as I firstly get the train home and then later on drive back, I'm listening to the West Ham game, West Ham versus Man United. It's 0-0 after 20 minutes at the moment. United with more of the possession but not coming seriously close yet. So we'll see what happens there, but a great afternoon. Hope you enjoyed the video shots I did for you inside the ground. Got both of Man City's first half goals and a load of other chances from the first half on tape, and then just enjoy the second half without the camera. Anyway, my train's due in a minute, so I'm off. Thanks for joining me today. It's been good.